All right, everybody, welcome to our second big meeting, and hopefully we'll have these type of meetings for the SoCal Films periodically, so that we'll keep you updated on because I know some of you are wondering, well, when is the next film going to come out and things like that. So we will keep you updated. Uh, More people might join. Right now, it's just me and Steven. I don't know if other people are going to join. Jack is supposed to be here, but we'll see. So. Four things that we want to kind of talk about. I think the first thing here is that I know that you guys that are subscribed to this channel, you're watching the film, and then you guys have and we'll address some of the comments. If this is your first video watching, the first comment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin the first comment. There's a playlist there with the Twin Earth film, and then the first behind the scenes that we did. You should really watch those two things before you watch this. So that'll be a good playlist that you can forward to your buddy, somebody else who is a filmmaker who might enjoy it. Um, so please do that for us so that we know that you appreciate what we're doing. And so second item I want to talk about is that probably in a few months I think that it'll be good to release that film in black and white, the Twin Earth film, because black and white gives it a different aesthetic. It's like like a noir kind of aesthetic, and I think that it's like watching a completely different film. So I do think this film will benefit from it. So watch out for that. That'll be probably in the summer sometime after people have seen this. I was gonna give the update on the series, but Jack is not here. Maybe he's stuck in traffic. But the hut. So the thing with the hut is going to be that I think what it is uh we may do it in a different channel because it's more of like, it's about a restaurant, and then it's a situation where, oh, here comes somebody. Okay, this is a different person. So that's going to be to where it might be on a different channel on its own. This to where it's like a recurring series about a restaurant and then a waiter, and Jack is going to play that waiter, and but we're kind of running into the same thing we're running into here, is that you have to have a developed channel before you put it out, or else YouTube is not going to fan it out to people, right? So it's pointless if you make a great series, you know uh that people might watch, but then YouTube algorithms kind of choke it, right? So we really have to build up that channel. So I was going to tell Jack that we're kind of going to kind of punt the Hut series for now, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building that channel up with like commercials and things like that, with like different kind of like maybe like one of their food and things like that, and then get it to where it's like there's more subscribers. Because if you just create a channel and put out a series, most likely it's just going to get a few views and that's it, right? So we want to be able to be in a position where if we do good work, we don't want to be choked by the algorithm, right? We want to be in a good position. In this channel, we're going to have to build it up from the bottom. This is why we need your help as to, this is why we need your help as to, fanning it out to your friends, helping us grow the channel. So,
Yeah, if anyone out there wants to make memes or anything, we'd also really appreciate that.
yeah, I mean, anything that will help. So, and I think so. Let's go into from the first BTS. We had a bunch of questions, comments. So one of them was, "Wow, how did you get the music in there without the copyright?" And then, I basically, see, this is the thing where we did mention it in the credits. But we basically wrote the music ourselves, and then Steven had written the first track. So
Yep.
before I hand it off to you, Steven, I'll just tell the audience how we went about it. So Steven wrote that song, and I wrote one song, and then one other song, the final song, the one about Hope in the Light, that was written by me and Vishal. He's the one that plays the Gen Z character. Unfortunately, I can't motivate him enough to come participate in these meetings. So but I told him, stop by anytime. But so when I first met Steven, I mean he has a band, and then I actually approached him and I said, "Hey, I could use this song in one of our, in one of the films that I do." And I think that I can put this in somewhere. And then that's where it started. So, Steven, you want to talk about that song? What that means to you?
Yeah, the song was really my foray into a genre I'd never really explored before, shoegaze. So I started with like a really heavy bass line and kind of had that be the driving force behind the song. I'd say like the lyrical content itself has more to do with this sense of alienation and disconnection from both oneself and from other people, which I don't know. I think from time to time we can all find ourselves in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I call the song shoegaze because that was my attempt at a shoegaze song. I hope I did all right and that enough people like the song that that song at some point could be used in other films.
No, yeah. I mean, the what you say about, alienation, that's what I picked up on. So I use some of the lyrics, when, those lyrics that says, I feel like I'm dying and then all that stuff, right? So all that stuff was really, that's why, I thought that song would be good for this film, so, and also I used that bass line that you did. I used it as a
Yeah.
background kind of score behind the dialogue throughout the film. And I thought that worked out really well because it provided that mood.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it
it kept definitely a consistent mood like throughout that. That was a good stylistic choice on
yeah,
your end, Karthik.
definitely because then it became to a point where that when that bass riff hits, you know that there's going to be some serious dialogue coming up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's almost like the Jaws theme.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like I guess it's like that to where it's like a theme, right? It's
Yeah.
like a main theme of the song. So I use Steven's song three times, I think. One in the intro, and then one where he's kind of walking around the character, and then the lyrics basically fit exactly. You know what I mean? Uh, like I said, isolation, themes and stuff like that. And then also a third time where by the fountain, where the character's kind of confused. So, when did you write that?
I would have written that probably April 2024.
Okay. So I mean, did you play the bass or did you program the bass?
Oh,
How did you do the bass?
I played the bass.
Okay. All right. So was that all kind of live instruments or how did you record it?
Uh, Live instruments, and I put some like samples over top of it. I don't have top quality recording equipment, so
Yeah.
when I was doing the actual vocals, I was simply using my microphone on my laptop. And
Wow.
there were a few happy mistakes actually that I was able to get in the recording because of that.
Oh, okay. No,
In
you
regards
told
to
me
like
about that. Yeah. The clicking.
mainly. Oh, sorry. I'll let you ask the question, I guess.
Oh, no, no, no. I was going to say the clicking noise. Remember we talked about that clicking noise? It kind of sounds like, machine grinding or something like that right in the
Yeah,
beginning.
that's actually me ruffling through like the my lyrical notebook as I'm going through the song. At the beginning of it, yeah, that's just something I didn't cut out. That's something I would normally have cut out, but with the effects that I put on top of my voice, it made a cool
Yeah, yeah.
sound effect.
Definitely. Definitely sounds good. And I think that, like I said, Steven, you have a kind of a catalog of songs. And then I remember I told you there was another song that you had that, you know, I almost don't want to mention this to the people. So because, they might expect it. Some of these projects, we want to do them, but you have to think about it as like budget. You want to think about it as like, things like availability. You got to think about the support that you guys, right? Your support, right? The
Whoa,
support that you guys will
right.
give. So, Stephen, I was going to say the other song that we're going to use, I thought it would be perfect if we ever do that Joshua Tree film that we were talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I definitely agree. Yeah, I like to have more of my songs incorporated into films, and at some point I would like to make that Joshua Tree film with you. I would say like in regards to just getting projects off the ground, it's just planning, that you put
Yeah.
into these things, and right now being in the preliminary stages of this, you've made the short, people know what you do, and they have a place where they can see the work that you have done, and you just gotta like grow organically, and sometimes that can take a minute, but I mean, don't let you know the lack of interest right away, stop you in the process of creating because you never know when you're going to hit one out of the park. You just got to keep going up to bat, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's well, I just think it's not fanning it out to enough people because the it's fanned out to enough people to where they've shown interest. So clearly, right, people, I think people like what we do.
Yeah.
And then also the frequency, I forgot to mention this up front, the frequency of which I did a lot of thinking about this. So what we don't want to do is that we don't want to sacrifice quality for quantity. So, we
Yep.
don't want to just be like, okay, we have to put some, put out a film and then put out stuff that's not, good enough. So I think probably looking at some kind of film, in varying genres. Some of it might be abstract, some of it might be different, some of it might just be me going out with the camera, which is kind of what this film was. That's how it started. But maybe once every month or once every 2 months at least. But we'll keep you engaged with videos like this, like, meet group meetings and things like that we'll have, right? But that's, I think, what we're looking at. It's like maybe once every 2 months or once every month. Now, we do have a next, I'm editing it right now, but like I said, I wanted to kind of let this one kind of ride out a little bit. What's the point in, you know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, don't
Even
oversaturate the market, right?
exactly, exactly. So I actually read into this and they said for filmmakers, you don't want to just, dilute it too much. And then you want to kind of take your time. And so that one's probably coming in April, I think. So yeah. So Steven's music, if any of you, want to use his music, you can contact him. You can reply to this, and I think he's got some great songs. And one of the reasons that I used it is that I think a movie film should have variety because I write my own songs. But then in some films, it might be suitable for me to just put my songs on there. But I think that it's really good to have a variety. Just like we have a variety of characters in the Twin Earth, right? We have me, we have my son in there, then we have the AI agent, then we have the, responsible citizen. So, we're actually we even if more people had showed up, we would have put them on there. So same thing, the variety of characters, the music, same thing. We need a variety of music. So I thought that your music brought in a huge dimension. So yeah, I think that worked out really well. That song, I knew that right away that we were gonna it's gonna click. So okay, so let's move on to some of the comments. So one of the comments was about the music. So the other comment that was that, oh wait, it should have been longer. Now, I totally agree. Like we could have made that into like 20 minutes. And since it was kind of my first kind of big effort, it got to a point where if I could do it over again, I would have done it differently. Remember like last time I said that I should have like shaved and maybe wore a shirt like this and like done different things.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all we could, take it. Instead of making it sort of, because we have so many other ideas, so we just kind of wanted to put a cap on it. But totally, yeah, I agree with that comment that it could have been totally longer. We could have had more scenes where he interacts with, other people and things like that. See, one of the things is that I played the lead in this film by default because if I were to have used somebody else for that, it would have never came out because, there's no way that I could have told somebody exactly, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, and like I said, Stephen, he's not here. So he would, it would have been, so he's in, Canada. So I really don't have anybody else to put in the film for the lead. So I actually just said, okay, well, I know what to do, so I'll do it. So that's kind of how it started. But I do agree. Yeah, it could have been longer, and I think it could have been more, we could have added more parts to it.
True. Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, it would then alter like perhaps the pacing though of what I think you were going for like in in the film. Like I think it's better to have something that's like short and sweet and kind of leaves people wanting more than to
yeah.
sort of draw something out,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have made it 40 minutes, but
Yeah.
I think maybe like a few more minutes, 15, 20, I think might have been good, But I'll admit that it is a learning process as we're going along, and then so
True. And it's
we
also
have
good as someone Karthik who like, wrote the script and like directed the script, it's also good at times for the creator of a project to do some acting to better understand the actors themselves. So like now what we go through when we're in our process.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I understand. See, that's why I did it myself, played the lead, because for me to communicate that to somebody and be like, okay, stand there, you're going to be doing this, it would have taken forever. It would have literally taken forever. And, so I think that, yeah, I mean, we did a lot of experimenting. So it is an experimental film in the sense that, it's not conventional. So it's not for everybody. So that is, something that I'm pretty sure that, if somebody who likes abstract experimental film will probably like this. So it's not meant to be like like your normal film, I think, in many ways. So that was one of the comments that, that it should have been longer. So another thing we got was the ending. And then so I think we can talk about the ending, like film genre, plot together. So Stephen, are you familiar with like abstract film? Have you, because I mean, it's like 100 years old. Have you ever seen like old abstract films? You must have.
Uh, Metropolis.
Okay, yeah, all right, that's yeah. So there's actually a lot of, I mean, there's a film out there, to, I mean, I know it's kind of weird, but there's a film out there called, I think it's called Lemon Peel, where they just show like, I mean, this is like pure abstract stuff, where they just show a lemon in
What?
different angles for like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? It's like abstract art, abstract art, right? It's like that.
Seems
So
like a
their film,
Warhol film or something.
exactly, yeah, like like stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
elements like, well, I don't think we're gonna go that abstract, but I actually felt that this had a pretty straightforward storyline, because the story here is that and the story here is not new, obviously. It's that stranger in a strange land. It's that same trope, but it's how you do it. Like, like we got a comment that said, "Oh, you guys should do time travel." Time travel, obviously Back to the Future has done it, and then there's been movies before Back to the Future that have done time travel. Since Back to the Future, there's been so many movies that done it. So it's kind of a worn out trope, but when we do it, people aren't looking to see, oh wait, you're doing that again, right? That but people are looking to see what kind of characterization or how we do it differently.
Right.
So that's the thing is that it's kind of like I like to think about it as a painting, right? Two people can paint a sunset, and then a third person can paint a sunset, but it's not like he's the first person to paint it, but it's the artist and how he interprets the sunset and how he paints it. So millions of people have painted the sunset, but each one is different because that artist will basically bring, and that's what you're watching the movie for, that's what you're looking the painting for, is that how did he do it differently, how did so if we do time travel, that's what it'll be. It's like what can we bring to the table. But uh yeah, so abstract film, existential, this kind of film, it's about 100 years old, right up from the early cinema, from like the 1920s to now. There have been a lot of abstract films out there. So, if you're unfamiliar with the genre, what we've done here might seem weird, might seem like, wait, what is this, right? But there's a clear story here in that it's basically, he comes into this world and he finds his home. That's really the story. That's all. It says it right there on the thumbnail. It's, oh, will he find his way home? So that is the story. The story is that he comes into this world and he finds his way home. Now, most sci-fi stories are like that. You know what I mean? Stranger in a strange land, right? Time travel is very similar, right? He goes to some kind of time and then he returns back to his time. So this is something that's, people going through portals, people going through, parallel universes, whatever it is, right? And then, even things like, even things like, you know, back in Kansas, right? Oh, we're not in Kansas anymore, right?
Ah, Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz. That's the same thing, right? She gets
Yep.
transported and then she comes back. So this is a very familiar, kind of a trope to
True.
where,
I guess if that's the trope you were going for in this particular instance, Karthik, what is it you think the character that you played learned from his time in this quote unquote strange land?
yeah. So that is the thing. That's kind of up to interpretation. But then
Yeah.
we say, so that's really the story. So that
Yeah.
is the story, is that how did this character transform? So there's that character arc. The way I see it, just like every story has a beginning, middle, and end, right? Has an introduction, a body and a conclusion, just like an essay, like
Yeah.
a college essay. So the beginning part, I feel there's a lot of action there because he comes in and then he meets all these people. He meets the AI, he meets Citizen One, and then he meets Citizen Two, and then he figures out, oh wait, this is kind of a weird world. So that whole thing, he gains information. So it's kind of like a big exposition, you know, to where he kind of understands, oh wait, where am I? I'm here. And then the part two is when he kind of walks off by himself and he does further investigation. He kind of, looks at the city and he kind of like he figures out, he looks at the stars and he kind of further goes, oh wait, I'm not home at all. So at that point he goes into kind of like an existential crisis. So this is kind of like a man kind of breaking down. You know what I mean? Breaking down and then asking for help. So I would say kind of the archetypes and the metaphors here is, breaking down, asking for help, and then overall message here is hope,
Right.
right? That's why the song "Hope in the Light." Read the lyrics to the song. It's at the end of the, it's on the credits, and also, if you can understand the, songs. So it's really like this man who just feels like he's down and out, and then he's kind of ready to give up. And there's even that line about, oh, should I, walk into the ocean? I was really skeptical about putting that line in because, it implies I don't want to say the word. If I say it, this YouTube video will get, uh, tagged, right?
Oh
But
yeah, they'll like so you got to be like 18 and older to like sign in or something, or like they'll
yeah,
flag you.
yeah. Well, it will basically block it out. So don't say that word. But I think people understand where I was going with that. But I felt it was powerful because he was like about to, and then so it's like a person who's basically completely out of his luck and kind of thinks that there's no hope. And then he prays to something, somebody, and then he gets his wish. So it's kind of like to me, it was kind of like a message of hope to where this person goes in, he's in a lot of trouble. So to each person, it might be different watching it, right? Different people think of it differently. So you can just think about Stranger in a Strange Land and he got home. So it could be to where I put a lot of elements in there about going into a place where you're not understood. You know what I mean? To where like you're seen as like a stranger, you're seen as so and coping with that. So it could be things like, people that are different, people that are, maybe going through life that, with various uh things that they're not happy about, things like that, to where maybe society doesn't treat them well, things like that. So, and I think one thing, so that is the plot. So the plot, there's definitely a story here, right? There's a story here. But we use a lot of unconventional angles. We used a lot of things like like we talked about in the previous one, BTS, is that, like third person perspective. And then
Yeah.
what I feel is the audience is in the head of the character, like I talked about before, to where they're sort of experiencing it firsthand. That's why the main character doesn't have any lines to the camera, right? You're kind of in the character's head, and then you're
Yeah.
kind of experiencing the world. Where Steven has lines, right? We can see him say lines. Vishal, he has lines, and then we have Jack, he has lines, but this character kind of interacts with everybody. So I thought that was kind of different, definitely very very cool. And yeah, the ending, I think what it is that you know people were like, oh wait, what happens to him at the end? Well, the way that I saw it was that we have that strange sound and that strange light that comes right at the beginning. So I thought it would be understood, he gets,
Yeah.
uh, sent back to home or wherever he is, but maybe I could have done that better because it was too early in the film. You know what I mean? That it could have been explained better to where it's like somehow we should have done it to where it's like, oh, the light and the sound means that he's getting transported. So that
Right,
is,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
it carries him away.
yeah. It's like how would you have done it differently, Stephen? What do you think? Do you think there's a way we could have done that differently?
Uh
I mean, to just what I'm saying is, I like
yeah.
the idea,
Yeah.
but how do we? Some people didn't pick up on it, so it's like, how could we have, you know, let the audience know that, oh wait, that's what that means. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, how to actually like convey
Yeah,
that in film.
yeah.
I don't know, buddy. I think you'd have to have someone who's more technical expertise to answer that question.
No, I think the problem is that since that happened right at the beginning, people
Yeah.
might not have paid attention because it happened within the first 10 seconds. So they see this light, they see the sound, and
Yeah.
maybe people didn't equate it to, oh, wait, that's light is bringing him here. So in the future, I think we can be a little bit more explicit on that, th things like that happening. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
Although it is like a good metaphor though. Like, I don't know. I think as much as like a light can reveal things, it can also blind you to certain things as well.
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. So he does make it home. So he
Yes.
makes it home. Uh, or like we said last time, he basically gets taken out of here. I think that, it's probably best to just leave this film alone. You know what I mean? And but we will use things like this in the future.
Right.
But it's probably so it's safe to assume that he got home, which is what I would say. I would
Right,
say
right.
that yeah.
Yeah, you can also do like more things like with that character and incorporate him in like in other projects like as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, if we continue it. So yeah, I wish Jack were here. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. Hopefully he's okay because he's
Right,
usually
right.
pretty punctual. Yeah. But I was gonna say, yeah, we could do another different series here, because that restaurant series, I think it's because I was gonna start basically a channel for that restaurant by itself
Yeah.
so that it's kind of separate from what we do here because this is more like art. That is meant to really just sort of be like a tractor, right? It's more like something that you might see in Netflix or something like, you know what I mean? So I have something more mainstream in mind for that plot, right?
Right.
But
Well, yeah, I
we
think
could,
the hut seems more like traditional television in that regard, and SoCal production seems more so geared towards experimental elements and
yeah,
films like stuff that can be a little more far out there.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think we can do things like that. But for that particular series, I'm just going to do a channel on its own because, then they can just talk about food and whatever else they want to talk about in that channel.
Right.
But we can do a series here. That's what I was going to say was that we can do some kind of series here, similar to this film, Twin Earth, something like that. To your
Yeah.
point, we could bring back, and I think you can come back as like you can pop up on the phone, like we talked about,
True, true. Oh yeah,
yeah.
but it can come down anytime, man, as long as we have like good consistent schedules, like, geared towards everything.
Yeah, you mean like actual you coming down here?
Yeah, being present. Yeah, I could be an
Yeah.
AI agent in one scene, and then you see me around the corner, like AI agent, hair up. Then like next scene, he's there, hair down. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, I think, well, how do you work, by the way? Do you like, I know you're busy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But do you like how often do you come to LA?
They're about once a month.
Okay. Yeah, next time you come over, right? See, we can do something like this film,
Yeah,
right? Let me know when you have time, and then we can do something like this to where we could just do a film on you, and then something like that. Something like this.
yeah, yeah. Something surreal, something trippy, hippie-esque.
Exactly, yeah. That's kind of what I wanted the Joshua Tree one to be. I wanted to do a film with kind of you and me, and then you can, do the lead on that one. And then it's like, we can do that sort of like, taking a trip. So I do have a lot of plans here. So I'm happy that you're on board and then Jack as well. So I think like going forward, like I want to make a film for like for the seasons, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
definitely something for Christmas, you know what I mean? Something like that to where I think the audience can expect something from us. So it's like, oh wait, per season, right? I also have an idea to make kind of a summer film, right? So all this is coming. So April we'll put out the one with Vishal on it, which was
yeah,
shot at Joshua Tree. So we kind of did that. That'll be similar to what we did here, but not as abstract. So it'll be kind of like, we got a bunch of footage and then,
right. I
maybe
guess
6 or 7 minutes.
my recommendation in the meantime, then Karthik, yeah, since you have like a little bit of time before you these ideas come to fruition, is just to focus on like characterization, like narrative and like story. So like, if you do find actors and people along the way who could also help you behind the camera, that you have something tangible that you could present them, be like, oh, my name's Karthik. I'm a filmmaker. This is what I'd like to make, and I think you'd be like a good fit into this.
Yeah,
Like to incorporate more people, into the grand scheme of things. It's just
definitely. Yeah.
you gotta yeah, having something to show them where you're like, this is what I got, this is when I want to make it, this is how I'm going to go about it, would definitely attract more people to the projects.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the thing I think is that also uh most short films, the thing that's wrong with more short films is that most short films is that, the acting is not good enough. The acting is bad, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, most
and
people are just
that
starting out with shorts, right? That's the
exactly.
thing.
So that's the thing is that I lucked out that I found you and then
Yeah,
I found Jack. And then it was, if either one of your acting wasn't like good, right? I wouldn't have put it on the film. So we
right,
need that level, and that level is hard to find because that is the one thing about short film or independent film that kind of gives it away, that kind of makes it kind of like, oh, wait, it's kind of cheesy, is that it's like bad acting. So I can't just put anybody in here. You know what I mean? I
right,
want
right,
it to be, it's got to be good. I got to be, it's got to be good. So I have to find somebody as good as you, or, I have to find somebody as good as Jack. So that part can be hard. So we do have, so hopefully we'll do this in a way that, everybody's included, and I think that, we'll periodically, but I do have another idea for like like a series or something like that, uh, where we could use you. I mean, you can always pop up on the screen,
Oh, 100%. I think that's
yeah.
super cool.
And it's easy for you to do, right? Because you're doing it remotely. So,
Oh,
it's like,
100%.
yeah. So, and that way it's like, you don't have to take time out of your busy schedule to, I mean, this is something you could probably do in like an hour or something, right? If we had to do something like that. So but I think, yeah, I think that's good. Let me know, like I said, next time you're here, and then we'll because I don't want to make you come all the way here just for this. So next time you're here in
Yeah,
LA for another project,
yeah,
right? You can spare a day or something. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I'll just come down.
That'll be good. Yeah. Where do you usually stay in LA?
Inglewood.
Oh, Inglewood. Okay. I'm trying to, yeah, okay.
Yeah, then I
Yeah.
could take the train down to Oceanside.
Well, yeah, I could. If there's something there, close
Yeah,
there, where we shoot a film with you, right? I could come down there too. So we could
that'd be
do
kind
both.
of cool.
Yeah.
Might be cool to film something like Santa Clarita or something. Go out into the mountains.
Yeah. Inglewood, where's I'm
Airport.
from this, but I don't, oh, is it next to the airport?
Yeah, it's right
Oh,
by the airport.
Inglewood. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. So if we were to do like a LA based film, I could come up there. And then maybe, like you said, you took the train down here that one time.
Yeah,
So yeah, that'll be good. So yeah, let's plan on that. So to wrap this up, I think we got 3 minutes because we use the free version of Zoom. So it only allows you to record like
40
40 minutes.
minutes.
So I think what we're going to do is that we're going to try to release a film, once a month or once every 2 months, probably
Yeah,
once every month and a half or so. We will try to make videos like this as we get more people on the team. And then so that, you guys know that, we're still discussing this, so you guys understand the future plans and everything else like that. So I can totally see like a series, kind of like maybe a sci-fi, kind of like some kind of series where, Steven pops up in the phone or something like that, and then we could kind of, do something like that. As long as I find competent actors. See, that's my, I'm super confident about my storytelling ability. I'm super confident about everything else. But if the we have to find people that are competent enough to carry those roles. You know what I mean? So
right.
hopefully, yeah, we can have something like that. So it's just some of this stuff, you get inspiration, and then it's like, oh wait, let's do something like this, or and we don't know where that's going to take us. So it could be that but I do have a list of about 10 different film ideas that when I get them in my head, I immediately put it down. You know,
Oh, cool.
I don't want to say it right now because, it'll kind of ruin the surprise. But,
Right, right.
but yeah, we do have, like I said, definitely, for Christmas, I think we'll make, as a team, SoCal Films will make something for Christmas. And then things like that. Like during that time, we will give you that kind of that, content that you guys, expect during the holidays or,
Right.
in
Something themed for that season.
exactly. Yeah. I think a Christmas one, definitely. We got to do one, something like, uh, some kind of Christmas story that's kind of cool, And same thing, I actually wanted to do a surf one, that's I didn't
Cool.
want to mention it, but over the summer, I want to do like a typical, like a typical summer flick, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a
That would be
teen,
so
teen,
cool.
teen summer flick or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for something for everybody, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like, like a teen thing, but it could be like surf oriented. It could be something like that. We could just go to the beach down here and do it. So I think we're going to run out of time. So,
Okay.
Stephen, thank you for showing up.
Oh, no
Uh,
problem, Karthik.
yeah.
Thank you for having me
So,
today.
no, of course, yeah. Jack is supposed to be here, so I hope he's okay. So,
Yeah, all the best. We really do hope he's okay.
yeah, he never skips out. He actually just jumped my car the other day because my battery ran out, and then I called him,
Okay.
and then he helped me with the car. So I'm guessing he's super busy right now. So for him to skip this, so we will talk to you next time. Thank you,
Yes.
guys.
Okay. All the best.